right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
A disturbing trend, teens and guns.
It is a problem. It is a problem that is getting bigger.
Tonight, a community's cry for change.
Widespread rain for most of the metro St. Louis area right now. We are tracking if it will have impacts on Thursday morning's commute.
She's the college-bound senior with multiple choices.
When I'm bored, I'm just applying. When I'm not bored, I'm just applying.
Tonight, the big decision she's left to make after receiving 40 college acceptance letters. First tonight, the Weather First team is tracking widespread rain moving through the St. Louis region, and it's really picked up in just the past 3 hours. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. The roads were wet for your evening commute and may still be damp for your drive to work tomorrow morning. So let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with that Weather First forecast.
And we do think, Mike and Kelly, the rain, this widespread moderate rain that's over the metro area, will start to push east of town as we head towards daybreak. And thus, we're not thinking we're going to have huge problems tomorrow morning for the early morning rush hour. That's why we don't have a weather alert running into Thursday morning, but the road's still likely damp. And for sure, overnight, you have ponding on these roads. Look at all these areas of yellow and orange. That's an indication of the moderate rainfall. In some cases, a quarter to a half an inch an hour falling, and that's right over the metro St. Louis area right now. It's kind of backing in from the south and the southeast. Our heaviest rain through the overnight hours will be to the south and southeast of St. Louis, but the metro is part of that. The farther north and west you go, the less rainfall you will see overall. And it does start winding down between 4 and 5 tomorrow morning. And with the breeze picking up, we're thinking we'll start to dry the roads a bit for the early morning rush hour. So the heaviest rain is through about 3 a.m. An inch or more east and south of St. Louis for sure, but as we go north and west, we'll cut that off pretty quickly. Damp for the early commute, but we'll talk about the winds that roll in here for tomorrow afternoon and the warmth for the weekend in a few minutes.
And a reminder, you can get the Weather First forecast anytime. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send a link straight to your phone. Gun violence in teens. The ongoing problem continues on the streets of St. Louis.
Just this week, several minors have either gotten shot or pulled the triggers during incidents across our city. New tonight, Robert Townsend talked to concerned community leaders.
Kelly and Mike, according to our 5 on Your Side data, so far this year, listen to this. 1 teen has been killed in St. Louis, 17 others shot in the city, and the violence isn't letting up. St. Louis police say Monday night a man told them a teenager shot him inside this McDonald's on Natural Bridge in North City and then ran off with 2 other minors. Tuesday, investigators say a 17-year-old shot his 22-year-old brother in his hand inside a home on South Compton during a fight. Hours later, a 16-year-old boy told officers he was walking down Kennerly Avenue on the north side when someone in a car rode by and shot him in his chest.
First, I think we need to understand that it is a problem.
Last year, teen violence was a major citywide problem that caught the attention of many.
And if we don't put a stop to it, if we don't intervene, and it's going to continue.
Dr. Claire Martin is an assistant professor of counseling at Washington University. She says in many cases, the minors don't know how to control their anger.
They don't think things through. They don't think about the consequences of the action.
She also says poverty, a lack of parental guidance, and a need to feel validated may push teens down the wrong paths. A key question for a community searching for solutions.
How do we put resources back in the communities to keep youth engaged so that they can get finding other ways to channel their anger?
We need to start at home.
10 years ago, Corey Johnson started a nonprofit. In addition to teaching boys the basics of playing pool, Johnson mentors the youth, encourages them to respect themselves and stay out of trouble.
Start having these dialogues, start spending time. Instead of money, time is LOVE. You know, you have to love them, show them that you care.
Parents interested in enrolling their sons in Johnson's free mentoring program can find much more information on our website. There is a waiting list.
Tonight, police continue to look for the gunman wanted for a deadly shooting at an apartment building just steps from the campus of St. Louis University. A 21-year-old man was shot in the chest around 8 last night at the Coronado Place in Tower Apartments. Police have responded to the building 267 times in just the last 2 years. The Better Business Bureau gave the apartment a D- rating with a dozen complaints from residents.
You have a lot of activity on this corner that just isn't focused on, and that can lead to dangerous situations.
More about the area and some bigger problems in the city rather than the building itself, but also this doesn't happen at other places where people live.
Graystar, the apartment's management, has not responded to our request for comment.
A former youth athletic coach from Fenton has pleaded guilty to charges he sent inappropriate messages to a minor. Trevor White admitted to asking for an explicit photo and arranging to have sex with a 13-year-old girl. The girl's parents reported the crime to police. White faces 10 years to life in prison when he's sentenced in July. And just hours ago, parents in Maryland Heights got an important lesson about child predators lurking on social media. New tonight, 5 on Your Side's Andy Kroll was there as police worked to arm families with the tools to protect themselves.
Maryland Heights police say offenders are reaching out to children on popular online games like Minecraft, Roblox, and Madden. Then they say those same offenders take the chat to platforms like Snapchat, where there may not be a log of the conversations, where they ask for children's private photos.
They will compromise themselves, and all that is being recorded on the other end. They will then upload it to a link on the internet. They'll send the victim the link saying, here's the video of you, and they'll then send screenshots of all of the person's social medias and say, you need to immediately wire me this amount of money, or I'm going to post the video on your Snapchat, your Facebook.
Detectives with Internet Crimes Against Children shared this information with parents Wednesday. They say to protect your child, 1, know their passcode, 2, check their phone, often for messages and app usage, and 3, establish healthy digital boundaries, building trust with your child so they tell you if something may be wrong.
When you think about artificial intelligence and people using machine learning to make scams or predatory behavior all the more realistic, police tell me that those dangerous threats become literally all the more real.
People are utilizing AI and computer software to create their own child pornography. Sometimes they'll take the face of a child they know. It could be a family member or a friend's daughter. They will then use that to place it onto regular pornography and kind of create their own child pornography. Still illegal. We'd still arrest them.
Detective Andrew Luca says that's still categorized as possession of child pornography, though the law hasn't quite caught up with this AI crime. In Maryland Heights, Annie Kroll, 5 on Your Side.
Maryland Heights police also tell us the average age of internet sex crime victims was 15 years old about 10 years ago. The average now, 10 and under.
Tonight, 4 Soulard bar owners are cleaning up after falling victim to smash and grab burglaries overnight. The crimes are caught on camera. The owner of Big Daddy's tells us it took officers roughly 30 minutes to arrive after a silent alarm was triggered. In that time, the thieves hit 1860 Saloon, Molly's, and Bogart Smokehouse before they returned to Big Daddy's for another run-through.
The time frame is concerning. I'm not sure, obviously, I don't blame, I'm pro-police, very high pro-police, but it's concerning.
A St. Louis police spokesperson says it's hard to answer why there was such a delay. If you recognize the suspects or that getaway car, you're asked to call police.
New tonight, a St. Louis high school senior is faced with making a decision not many of her counterparts are tasked with.
The student from KIPP St. Louis High School receiving acceptance letters from 40 different colleges. 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon is here to introduce us to this stellar student. Brent?
Yeah, you said that right, 40. When you talk to Alana Wilson, you meet a reserved but poised young lady who knows how to set her sets high. Today she told me how she took high school seriously because she knew she wanted to make something of herself.
Look at this then 5th grader holding a sign of her future high school graduation date. Flash forward 7 years later. That time is now.
May 23rd, yeah.
You ready? Have you been counting down that day?
I have.
Meet 18-year-old Alana Wilson. The soon-to-be high school graduate has been accepted into 40 different colleges.
What, you just couldn't stop at 1 or 2 or 3 or what?
No. I would just be sitting in my room in my bed just applying. Just like I am with scholarships right now. Just when I'm bored, I'm just applying. When I'm not bored, I'm just applying.
here she is with her KIPP High School step team, performing on Show Me St. Louis. She loves stepping because of what it instills.
Discipline, time management, teamwork, sisterhood. I definitely want to do it while I'm in college.
There will be plenty of time for that. School administrators love success stories like hers. In fact, every senior at KIPP St. Louis has been accepted into at least one college. It's been that way for 3 years.
It's something that we instill in all of our students from the time they're with us to the time that they leave, and we actually stay with them and support them after they leave our doorsteps to make sure that they receive the support they need.
As for Alana, she's racked up $1 million in scholarships from the 36 schools that want her. She's narrowed it down to 2.
Alabama State is my first option. My second choice is Missouri State.
And since she'll be the first in her family to go to college, she knows she's paving the way for her younger siblings.
I kind of want to set an example for them and kind of make my parents proud.
She tells me she wants to become a psychologist or an actress. And because her story inspired so many of us here at 5 on Your Side, at the end of our interview, I told her to make us proud too. Her response, I definitely will.